So let's talk about debt. I'm willing to bet you've been told your entire life that it's a bad thing, right? A trap, a danger, something you should avoid at all costs. But here's the thing. The wealthiest people on the planet, they don't just use debt, they practically live in it. In fact, it's one of their biggest secrets for getting richer and richer, day after day.
Yeah, this quote really hits the nail on the head. See, the problem has never been debt itself. It's being stupid with it. While most of us are taught to be scared of debt, billionaires have totally flipped the script. They've learned to master it. They embrace it, not just to get by, but to accelerate and multiply their wealth in ways we're all taught to run away from.
So what's the big secret? It all boils down to one simple thing: perspective. The way an average person sees debt versus how a billionaire sees it, well, that's the whole ballgame. It's the fundamental difference between building real wealth and building a lifetime of monthly payments.
Okay, look at this. It lays out the two different paths, clear as day. The average person uses debt to consume. We buy things like cars and new phones, stuff that starts losing value the second we get our hands on it. It's a tool to get things we can't quite afford today. A billionaire, on the other hand, sees debt as leverage. It's a tool to own things that will grow in value. We're talking companies, real estate, you name it. One borrows to consume, the other borrows to own. It's a huge difference.
And this difference in mindset isn't just a philosophy. It leads to a very specific and very powerful strategy. It's a three-step playbook the ultra-wealthy use to generate massive amounts of cash without selling a single asset. And, this is the kicker, without paying capital gains tax. It's famously known as buy, borrow, die.
So here's how it actually works. Step 1 is buy. They acquire assets they know will appreciate over time. A stock portfolio, a bunch of commercial properties, you get it. Step 2 is borrow. Now this is the genius move. Instead of selling those assets for cash and getting hit with a massive tax bill, they just borrow against their value. This gets them a low-interest, tax-free loan, because loans don't count as income. And finally, step 3, die. I know it sounds morbid, but it's an absolutely critical financial step. Their heirs inherit the assets at a stepped-up basis, which basically resets the asset's value to the market price on the day of death. And just like that, a lifetime of taxable gains is legally wiped out. Poof, gone.
And let's be crystal clear about this. None of this is illegal. It's not some shady loophole they're exploiting. The wealthy are simply using the existing financial and tax systems exactly as they were designed. They're just playing the game on a whole different level, using rules that are available to anyone who actually understands them.
The entire foundation of this strategy really rests on one simple principle: understanding the difference between good debt and a bad debt. The question isn't whether you should borrow, the real question is, why are you borrowing in the first place?
Okay, so bad debt, that's the stuff most of us know. It's for things that lose value, paid back from our own pockets. But good debt, that's the complete opposite. It's a loan you take to buy an asset that actually generates its own money, and that cash flow is what pays off the debt. Think about it like this: with bad debt, you work to pay the bank. With good debt, your assets work to pay the bank.
Here's a super simple example to make it real. Let's say an investor borrows the bank's money at 6% interest to buy a property that generates a 10% return from rent. You see what's happening there? They are making a 4% profit purely by using someone else's capital. The asset is paying for its own debt and putting cash in their pocket. That right there is the power of good debt in action.
Now I know what you're probably thinking. This is great for billionaires, but what about me? Well, here's the good news. The underlying principle here, leverage, is totally scalable. You don't need $1 billion in the bank to start applying this kind of thinking to your own financial life. So, what does the path forward look like? Well, first, you build excellent credit. Your credit score is your golden ticket to cheap money, so keep utilization low and always pay on time. Second, start using productive debt. We're talking about things like business loans or real estate financing. You borrow to create value, not just to consume stuff. And third, you protect and reinvest. Any profits you make from leverage shouldn't go to lifestyle upgrades. They should go to buying more income-producing assets. That's how you build real momentum.
Ultimately, the biggest hurdle for most people isn't getting access to the money. It's the psychological block we all seem to have around debt. To use it effectively, you have to make a fundamental shift in your mindset.
It all comes down to this. The average mindset is to fear debt, and for good reason. We've all seen how bad consumer debt can ruin lives. It's an emotional reaction. The wealthy mindset, though, approaches debt with pure logic. They don't ignore the risks, but they master the math. And by doing that, they turn a potential liability into an incredibly powerful strategic tool.
This pretty much says it all. Mastering debt is an active choice. It takes financial education. It takes discipline. You have to decide if you're going to be the one in the driver's seat using debt as a tool or if you're going to let it control you. So I'll leave you with this final thought. The next time you think about debt, I want you to stop asking yourself, should I borrow? Instead, ask a much more powerful question. How can I make this debt work for me? Change the question, and I promise you, you can change your entire financial future.